What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of my efforts to help a very new cyclist achieve their 2 major cycling goals since beginning the sport a few months ago. Number 1, being able to clip in, accomplish, and number 2, being able to complete their first group ride, which is what we're going to do today. Part 1 is currently running on my channel. I'll link to it so you can learn a little bit more about Brenda's preparation for this.
Excellent. Remember, yeah, stay behind me. Okay? Step out. Yes.
I'm going to cover a number of topics on this video, including some milestones I had set for Brenda to achieve. It's kind of like those little things that can catch a newbie out on their first ride.
So you were on Big Wheel with me.
Probably.
You were there.
Yeah, that one Sunday. Yeah.
I've got you in my video because I was checking out your bike.
Yeah.
All right, my heart is racing. All right, rolling.
Yep.
Alright, numero uno should be pretty obvious. That's being able to clip in and out, but there's a real significant purpose behind this first achievement. No matter how much you practice, when you get out here with a large group and it's prime time, it can be very nervy. So Brenda handled this first sequence like a champ, but equally important is being able to stay with the group. This is one of the things that just always catches new cyclists out. For whatever reason, they lose touch very early on. They don't really understand or acclimated to the concept of staying with the group, and they trail off, eventually being dropped and not being able to complete the ride. So clipping in and out, being able to stay with the group, excellent job. Next, we've got this small climb. South Florida is flat, pan flat. However, this 3 to 4% grade expressway overpass has seen new cyclists and newcomers get dropped and never recover because it comes so early in the ride and the group rolls over it at tempo. And just like the first idea of staying with the group riding is about quickly adapting to someone else's pace, not what you're comfortable with. And then there's quick change in speed. We've got this short descent. Again, not a big deal if you're experienced, but it can be a shock going from 12 miles per hour to 27 miles per hour so early and around other cyclists. But again, Brenda faded a little bit, but then she came back strong. Experienced cyclists value the nimbleness of performance road bikes, but to new cyclists, that virtue can feel twitchy and almost like an out of control sensation. So be mindful that they will oftentimes be grabbing for the brakes.
Car back. Car back. Car back. There.
Next, you've got to move with the group. This one requires a bit of trust. We're about to move across 3 lanes of traffic. There isn't time for hesitation. You go when the group goes because this is really a safety numbers type of thing, and Brenda is following well.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Did you come out on the wrong side?
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
I held on.
No, your la cadena sí te suelta.
Salió.
Spin the
Hold the bike.
spin the pedal. He's ready.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
It's okay. Take your time. They're right behind you.
That was tough to watch, but I wanted to let it play out. Brenda was doing everything well with the exception of one thing. She stayed seated too long. She didn't have enough time for the clipped out leg to work as a counterbalance, and that caused her to tip over into the wrong direction. It's the type of thing that us experienced cyclists don't really think about, but actually happens. And there were also other things going on, like not gearing down for the light, but that's actually something that I'll talk about more towards the end of the video. Now, I actually do have a video on my channel about clipping in and clipping out properly, and Brenda has watched it, and her two big takeaways from watching that video were to hold on to the bar rather than sticking your hand out to break the fall, and to get out of the saddle early. But, you know, execution in real time oftentimes is a little bit different. What's important is that she popped back up like a champ and she was ready to go. The chain coming off started a domino effect where we would be delayed at the light, and I'm convinced that if the chain had not come off, we would have stayed with the group. But the thing is, man, when we turned north, we were facing a very, very stiff headwind. And while I could put the effort in to come across, Brenda was not able to stay on my wheel, and that just burnt too many matches for her. The thing that I did try to do, rather than putting in one hard acceleration, is I ramped up the speed gradually to come across, but she eventually lost my wheel. The headwind really was bad, and unless you're a master at drafting, it would be really tough to stay on somebody's wheel. But despite that, watch how strong and determined Brenda is. She comes back across to my wheel. It's easy to get flustered and give up in these types of situations when things don't go perfectly according to plan, but Brenda kept going, and that shows heart. With a little help from a traffic light, we got back to the group, and we would definitely try again. I feel like Brenda had burned, if not all of her matches, most of her matches. You know, it's one of those things where when you're new, you don't have the stamina, you just don't have the reserves to keep going and put the power out. Experienced riders are able to recover from this type of effort because of miles in our legs. And at this point, I really thought about, you know, throwing in the towel, modifying the route for her, and, you know, trying something another day. But Brenda remained upbeat, so we're like, okay, let's keep going. So we kept going.
Tired?
No, I'm not clipped in.
Despite that delay clipping in, we were coming back to the group, but I know that that was a very taxing effort. So at this point, I decided to cut a bit out of the route to bring Brenda back up to the group, and we succeeded in doing that. A little bit of a shortcut never hurt anybody. Now bear in mind, there are so many things to teach new cyclists that it can literally be overwhelming. I'm from the school of let's go with some of what you know if you don't have everything together, rather than waiting till you've actually perfected everything before you start trying. So this is a little bit of an imperfect endeavor, but one where I think the lessons are really locked in.
Nope, don't.
No?
Just slow down a lot. Slow down some more. All right, unclip.
This young man was our unsung hero. Told me his name, and true to form, I forgot it. Apologies. We had an opportunity to speak before the ride actually started. He mentioned that he was familiar with the channel, And I know he's a very capable cyclist because he was on a very, very fast ride with me a couple weeks ago. And I know he's able to ride with the A group and certainly able to keep pace with the C group. But he decided to stay back to offer an assist and words of encouragement to Brenda. And you know, that's one of those things that is missing in the cycling community these days. So I really appreciate it, brother. Thanks for the assist. From this point, all I did was just lay down a tempo that I felt Brenda could sustain. I was actually going about 20, 21 at this point because I figure all the jitters are gone. So we just kept it steady. And I should mention that at this point, what we're doing is not really a group ride. We're just riding together. So I don't know that we're going to check the box off, Brenda, of saying that you completed your first group ride. We're going to have to revisit this subject another time. The comment section on the previous video, part 1 of Brenda's journey, many of you rightly mentioned the importance of gearing down at lights whenever we come to a full stop, basically, or even when we're doing corners. Now, I have found that people come into cycling either knowing how to use their gears or not knowing how to use their gears. It's one of those passages from our childhood type of stuff. So it's not a lesson that I force early on if a person doesn't instinctively know how to do it, especially here in Florida on these flat roads, because I want the focus to be on other things. It's one of those things that, yes, it makes the riding easier, so we will certainly do that going forward. Very important practice, very important.
Especially because remember I told you I'm always like staring at the sun?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, that was beautiful.
I turn right in here.
Thing is not that bad when you know how to fall. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because tell me what happened when you fell. You did what?
I held on, and it was the slowest fall, but it didn't hurt because I held on. So
you just rolled.
Yeah, I just rolled.
You didn't flop.
Right, and it didn't hurt, so I just got back up.
So if you had to describe your first group ride experience in a phrase, what would you say?
Amazing, but humbling. For sure.
I think you did well.
Thank you.
If you didn't fall that first time and then your chain came off, because that's what kind of like got you separated from the group.
Yeah.
You would have been fine because you were okay going over the bridge.
Right.
And you were okay coming down. And when we're coming to the light, you were okay.
Yeah.
But because when you unclip, you felt, it wasn't even the unclipping and falling, it was your chain being off. Because at that point, they were like through the light, and then we had like a straight headwind. And
that was rough.
The headwind was really rough. And I was coming across, and then I was like, oh, Brenda's not on my wheel anymore.
No. I was trying to catch my breath, and I'm like, I tried to get lower to the bar, and I was like, I still felt it so much where I was like, I can't. It was a lot.
We're gonna have to do episode 3. I've got a punch list for Brenda, and a lot of it has to do with observations that I've made, observations that some of you have shared in the comment section. and feedback, encouragements, and things like that. One of the things that we're definitely going to do is we're going to lower her saddle. I also want to get her on a narrower handlebar because I think that position that she's on is not sustainable if she's on a bike for too long. And I'm going to suggest that she spends more time in the park, clipping in and clipping out by herself. And then during the week, when I get together with a few friends, it may be like 2 or 3 or 4 of us, and we get together and we just put around, do a short group ride, maybe 20 or 30 miles or something like that. I'm going to encourage Brenda, if she can, to come out and attend one of those because I think it'll be good for her to just be around other cyclists in a more relaxed environment. But please understand, what we showed on this video, that's what a C group ride is like down here in South Florida. And this is one of the more user-friendly C group rides with one of the better routes. Every region is different, and sometimes people watch our videos and don't understand why we're riding the way how we're riding or why our groups are doing what they're doing. That's just kind of how it is down here in South Florida. And in your area, it may be different, but this is what we prepare somebody for if they're going to be group riding down here in South Florida. So that's just how it is. But like I said, I really appreciate all of the suggestions, encouragements, and comments. And we'll see what happens if we actually get her out there and have an opportunity to document Brenda's third ride, where hopefully she'll be able to complete the entire ride. And by the way, I'm not counting this, and I told her this, I'm not counting this as like, Brenda, you've completed your first group ride. No, she didn't complete her first group ride. We started it, but we ended up just riding back together. But it's okay, we're gonna get out there and we're gonna get that done. All right, that's it. That's where we're gonna leave this one. Thank you for continuing to support our channel by watching these videos, liking, commenting, and subscribing. And as always, our aim here is to inform, instruct, inspire. Be blessed.